Welcome back to the stash. It's been another 2 weeks, so that can only mean one thing. The new issue of Amazing Spider-Man is out now, and can it just end already? I mean, this is like gone to a point where it's in this weird limbo state of just nothingness. Nothing really feels important anymore. He's still wearing that weird tech suit that just looks like his classic suit, but just gold eyes and symbol. It's Doc Ock. What happened to Doc Ock? He looks horrible now. But our story opens up with J. Jonah Jameson rushing into Oscorp with Doc Ock's old tentacles and trying to find his way to Peter Parker to fix them because they're like his pet now because they spent time with him or whatever. You know, it's just weird. Somehow Norman Osborn has become the voice of reason, saying, "Are you kidding me? Why would we help them?" And Peter somehow convinces him to, well, help them. And would you believe that that is a massive mistake? But before we get to that, we see Octavius and Kraven the Hunter share a conversation. And after they talk for a while, Doc Ock basically shows Kraven that he could kill him if he really wanted to, I guess. Then we get this awesome splash page of Doc Ock looking mean and ready to go to work. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. This looks like shit. Seriously, how did he evolve from this to this in like 30 years? It makes no sense. And then one of the most embarrassing parts of Jameson's history, he then explains to Peter why he acts like they're a family pet. And he says, well, maybe they started coming around my place more often, just to stay out of the rain. Then maybe for a warm place to sleep. Maybe I tried to chase them off at first, but maybe I started looking forward to them coming around, curling up on my bed, keeping my feet warm. Ew. That's really all I gotta say about that. Is just ew, you know? But then basically Norman Osborn revives the tentacles, and who would have guessed that was a massive mistake? Well, especially considering they basically just compromised the system. Norman then explains that the arms are a Trojan horse and the codes are in the system. Not only that, but the arms also led Dr. Octopus directly to Oscorp. A few more hideous panels of Doc Ock's face later, we see Spidey trying to battle Octavius with his new arms and fail horribly. Not only that, but he defeated Norman Osborn in like a second? And he could have easily killed Spider-Man, but he decided not to because he's insignificant. And then he basically vows that he's going to take a lot away from Norman Osborn and make his life living hell, like how Norman did that to Peter Parker in the 90s, but all is forgiven, I guess. Well, thank God that's over. So what do I think of this? Well, it's a very nothing issue, and honestly just a bit tonally jarring more than anything. I guess you could say it's mostly fine, although it's incredibly boring. However, this is also like super incoherent considering what came before it. And expanding what I said before about being jarring, it's going from the rather somber previous issue following on from a major failure for the character to one which is almost a joke premise. It's a bit weird. And don't get me wrong, Otto having a big power-up is okay, but the action was pretty boring because Spider-Man didn't really do anything. He just sort of lost, and rather anticlimactically. Probably would have been better if there was something character-driven about it, like Peter letting his anger get the best of him, making him a bit more reckless, and then leading to him losing the fight. He basically just gave up on the spot. And this is even further confirmation that Zeb Wells didn't even bother reading Volume 2 of Superior Spider-Man. In one of the early issues of this run, we have Anna Maria openly lusting after Evil Ock when she had no romantic feelings for him whatsoever and barely tolerated him as a friend in Volume 2. And now Otto somehow remembers the Goblin King and what he did to him in Volume 1 of Superior, when not only the memories of this died when he erased himself from Peter's body, but even if they didn't, Mephisto's deal at the end of Volume 2 explicitly states that he would lose all memories of his first time being Spider-Man. This is actually astonishing. There is no way a person who's putting so little care into continuing what others have built before them actually gets to do this as their paid job. And what, can't Peter even beat Otto now? And isn't Otto supposed to be a good guy anyway by this point? I had to enjoy years of superior Spider-Man only for that progress to be taken away. This is such bullshit, and let Spider-Man evolve for God's sake. I mean, he already evolved, but you took that away from him. Remember in the early 2000s where he was married and was a teacher, and that good J. Michael Straczynski run? They've undone everything that came before it. Why is Miles, of all things, getting more love and development when the original is right there? What's next? Kane goes crazy again and starts killing people? Or Ben goes back to being evil and dies again? I mean, 2099 last story is from years ago, and even his character had more development. at least evolve Peter's power set. I mean, all of the clone and deviants are said to work as branches/evolution of OG 616 Spider-Man, meaning that all of their power should be a possibility for him to access. And we know he holds himself back a lot, and even till this day, he probably only unlocked like around 10% of his true potential, but he's 25. And you're telling me he can't even land a punch against Dr. Octopus? We have now reached a point where I actually don't even really care what happens anymore, and I just stick to reading the classics. I've been reading the old J. Michael Straczynski stuff, and it's way better than whatever's coming out now. At least he allowed characters to grow and change and become adults like Spider-Man. And that feels like something that the whole Marvel bullpen is against. It's not just Zeb Wells, it's the entire staff of Marvel that just continuously ruin this character's books. As someone who loves Spider-Man, as someone who's read nearly every comic book about this character, I'm simply tired. But that is it for today. If you have enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because here, any support means so much. Let me know what you guys think of this comic down below. Are you done with this series? Because, like I said before, I can't keep taking this anymore. But thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one.